Hey, welcome back to Newbreed Film Reviews. This is Dave. Brian's on the podcast, and Paul, as usual.
What's
As
going on,
usual,
guys?
back.
We're on episode 15, and this episode is a first for us. We're actually going to dedicate a whole episode to one movie, and that one movie is Interstellar by Christopher Nolan, and it stars Matthew McConaughey and what's the redhead's name?
Anne Hathaway.
No,
Hathaway?
well, Anne Hathaway's in it, but Jessica Chastain.
Yes.
Yeah, Chastain.
The one that plays his daughter.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's another actor, but I almost don't want to spoil it. Are we dropping kind of spoilers on this one?
We're talking
one
about the
completely
movie.
gonna
be
spoilers.
Spoiler
Okay.
Yes.
fest.
So I can
Yeah.
just flat out say Matt Damon's in it because he was kind of
I didn't
And a bunch of other people they don't talk about.
I didn't even know Matt Damon was in it. That was like a total sleeper move right there.
That
That's what I'm
was.
saying. I didn't know freaking Casey Affleck was in it. I didn't know that Topher Grace was in it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I did not.
Casey Affleck was in it?
Yeah.
Oh, he
you know,
was.
His
He's the
son.
brother.
Yeah.
Oh,
his son,
yeah. He
right?
looked different because he was heavier.
And had a
Yep.
beard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we're going to cover Interstellar. Who wants to touch on Interstellar first?
Well, first of all, I want to start with this. Going into this, I made a list of pros and cons, of the movie. And even though I thought I liked the movie when I started, after going over this list, I realized I didn't like the movie that much. There's way more cons than there was pros to this thing.
Blasphemy, sir.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna have it out. We're gonna have a real old-fashioned debate tonight.
Yes. And I would have to say that I'm kind of on the fence. I'm either way. I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it. I wouldn't own it, but I'd watch it again.
I got my cons on it, but the pros far outweigh the cons for me. I guess I'm the bigger fan of the movie on the podcast episode. And we're also going to touch on Nolan, right? If we have time.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll talk about Nolan as a director.
Okay. So, Paul, since you seem opinionated on it, you want to kick it off and talk about likes, dislikes?
Sure.
Hold on. So, brief overview, just the movie. Anybody that hasn't seen it and just wants to listen to it, it's just about in the future, the Earth was devastated by like drought and famine, and it's going to be to a point where the Earth can't be lived anymore. So what they do is they send out all these different astronauts from NASA to find a livable planet. So they find a wormhole and they send astronauts in to different planets. 13
Suicide
astronauts.
missions, pretty much.
Yes, to land on a planet to see if it's livable. For us to move our entire, colony of humans over to that planet and then start new. So that's the basic premise of it. And Matthew McConaughey is one of the guys, kind of NASA guys that they pull in to all right, to lead one of the missions. So basic overview of what it is.
Murph,
Go ahead.
don't leave me like this, Murph. Don't leave like this, Murph. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So one of the first things that I noticed about it, and in true Christopher Nolan, who I absolutely love his movies, but in true Christopher Nolan form, this thing was long. Like 2 hours and 50-something minutes. And after the first, 3/4 of it, I felt every last minute. It was so long at that point. I really feel like that there was so much that could have been trimmed out of this movie that they left in. It was like they just put out the first cut. There was just so much. There was a lot of useless scenes in there that didn't need to be there.
If I could just touch on that, Paul, I'm not stealing your time right now, but if I can touch on it, what I think happened to a lot of people is that, and it happened to me too, but I was able to overlook it. I was hyped up about the movie because I thought it was going to be like a sci-fi epic kind of adventure, more action.
Yeah.
And it actually turned out to be a movie that was it was just a deep movie, and it had a lot of messages and stuff, and there was action, but I think it was way less action than a lot of people anticipated. And that's what it threw me off a little bit too.
Well, when
If I can piggyback that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I can piggyback that, I when I saw the trailer, it gave you nothing. It gave you nothing at all on the film. It gave you visually what it looked like, but even
which
watching
was
the trailer,
stunning.
yes, but even watching the trailer now, you're like, I don't know what the hell this story is. You know, like they just really didn't give out much. So you're expecting it to be kind of like an in space, you know, like you said, sci-fi movie, you know, and but it's a thinker, you know, it's a space movie that makes you think about life and thinks about our future and think about what we would do in our future and how we would interact with the other humans. So it's kind of one of those movies that you might go into it thinking that you're going to watch this crazy action film, but you actually are going to sit down and watch this movie that really sits and makes you think, you know?
I thought it was like an automatic win because it's like Nolan and a really good actor who's a pothead. So I was like, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, they're in. They're good to go. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you think about, like, you know, we'll go back to Interstellar, but you think about Nolan, Nolan hasn't really made a flop. You know, if you think about all his movies,
It's true.
even going back to,
He's had
I mean,
disappointments. I
Yeah,
thought Inception was a disappointment. Like,
see, I disagree with you on that one.
I loved Inception.
I love Inception too.
I go back to my same comments, dude. For a dream movie, total visual letdown. They could have done way more with having a dream state movie. Way more effects. Visually, it could have been striking. And the greatest thing they had in that whole movie was the landscape going over your head, like the city, like over your head, and slow motion fighting. Like,
Which, may I add, they used in Interstellar.
what part?
In the end when he wakes up and he's 100 and something years old, and he goes and spoilers to the freaking ending of the movie, and the worst ending ever. And his daughter's all old and shit, but they're on this like space station or space something by Saturn, right? And he wakes up and he goes out and like they're playing baseball, and the baseball like goes up into the sky, but it's actually the sky is like
Yeah, but arguably, dude, Interstellar had better graphics than Inception. Like they were in space. They went into like a black hole. Like it was like visually like striking in a lot of points. Like what did Inception have?
So let's touch on those two things with Interstellar, as far as graphically and how cinematic it was. What I thought was pretty cool when I was looking and researching is Nolan didn't want to use green screen. He didn't use green screen for the entire movie. What they did for all the spaceship scenes was they did a projector that projected the stars and space up in front of the camera, so the actors were actually watching it on the screen of like the space moving and like the wormhole and the black hole. Yeah, no green screens he used. So I thought that was pretty impressive. He shot it like all on IMAX projectors that he was using for them to watch. So there's IMAX projectors that are showing the space scenes outside the spaceship, which is pretty cool. Innovative in general.
Paul, go ahead.
And he also, when he made the wormhole, he actually contacted the top scientists that studies that and is based all on, you know, Einstein's law of something or other nerdy science thing, you know?
Yeah.
And he actually contacted him, and the guy made his formula, and the VFX designers actually took the formula and they made a great visual representation of what the formula was for it to how the how the wormhole would look. And it's the most closely represented in film of what a wormhole would look, because it's straight
Based
from the mathematical.
In theory.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's based on the mathematical equation of how a wormhole would work. That's literally, and then what they did was they represented how.
But nobody has ever been.
Yes, but it's a theory.
Yeah, no one has ever been in a black hole, so we don't know.
Oh no, but it's not like Hollywood saying like this is what it should look like. This is scientific mathematics that's saying this is what it should look like.
I'm sorry, I just keep saying in theory just to say it.
So I think we kind of like stole some of Paul's time. I think he was gonna had more to say on the movie. But before Paul goes back to you, can we all just agree? I can't be crazy on this. TARS and Case, the two robots, were cool as fuck. Can we just establish that?
Movie I've ever seen.
Dude, I agree.
Dude, if they go for the presidency,
100%.
They got my vote.
They're on my list of pros, by the way.
Governor of California TARS. I would
I got to tell you though, when I first saw it, I'm just
President.
like, that thing's stupid. Initially, when
Dude,
I first saw it,
Why would
when he
it
saw
just
it in
move like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, when he was in the NASA like underground thing, like that robot thing, I was like, that
it looked like
stupid.
a vending machine.
Yeah.
But then when they were out on that planet where the tidal wave was coming and that thing turned into like that side wheel spinning thing to go get her, I was like, that thing's
They were
sweet.
deceptively agile. Like they were fucking cool.
You could do anything.
They were cool. That like Tars was like one of the heroes of the movie.
I was just you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, if anything, I would say he is the hero of this movie.
And his humor, the robot humor.
McConaughey didn't do anything. McConaughey just left his daughter without even contemplating what was gonna happen. Which is like, oh, guess what? They want me to go to space, so I'm going to space on this trip where I'm probably not gonna fucking return. And then, so he did nothing. The daughter was pissed off at daddy, so she went and, did stuff. And then, but you have this robot who, personality-wise, just makes you just like him. They gave him such a personality. He was still a robot.
Humor, like funny dry humor.
But
yeah, he was. Do you know who did his voice?
No. It was someone interesting that made me say whoa, but I forgot.
Yeah, his name's Bill Irwin. He's the guy that did the Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Okay, I guess I didn't know. I'm mistaken with another movie.
No, he did like the vocals for which part did he do? Lulu. He did like one of the vocals for one of the Lulu-Who's.
You know who did Case?
His dad or her dad? No, go ahead. I don't know.
Steve Perry from Journey.
Oh,
no,
really?
I'm just messing.
Wait,
I know. He's dead.
Steve Perry's alive,
I don't
bro.
remember Case.
Yeah,
is
he got a
He's
bad
not from
back.
Journey.
Steve Perry's from Journey.
Why do I always think Steve Perry's dead? We've had this conversation before, and I always think Steve Perry's dead. I'm writing him off. I don't know why.
Steve Perry was from Aerosmith.
No, dude.
No, Steve Perry lead singer in Journey.
Oh shit, I suck.
Steven Tyler, you mean?
Joe Perry is from Aerosmith. He's a guitarist.
All right, no, but I completely agree with you. The coolest movie robot that I've seen.
Yeah.
So, Paul, besides like the length of the movie, what else did you what did you like and dislike? If you want to keep touching on.
I thought Matt Damon's character was the most useless character in the entire movie. I thought that they just wrote it in just to write him in. I don't think that entire short little storyline did not progress the movie in any way, shape, or form. Had this been written by anybody other than Christopher Nolan, it would have been rejected as a script because of that. Trim this out. This would not end up in your final draft.
Tell them how you feel, Paul.
I'm telling you. That was like, it added nothing other than the fact that Matt Damon is in this movie. And Matt Damon's great. He's a badass in a lot of stuff he does. I think he's a great actor. Did not need to be in this movie in any way, shape, or form.
Dave, we'll rebuttal that after. We'll let him go. We'll let him go, and then we'll rebuttal.
Let it all out, Paul. This is like a therapy session.
So, one of the other things, and this is the one I'll talk about very briefly, and then you guys can rebut, whatever. I didn't get an explanation like why Earth was the way it was. There was no story to why it was this desolate place all of a sudden. What caused that? Was it just climate change? What was it?
I mean, that's a valid point. They may have explained it in the movie briefly, but I don't remember. I think what they did was, and for some reason, I'm okay with that. Like some movies, like I want an explanation, and some movies, it's okay to be thrown right into this world. Like for some reason with Interstellar, I just accepted it. I was like, all right, some shit happened, the world is screwed up, and they probably just did it to progress the story because the movie would have been 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it does. Like I agree with both of you. I think they just kind of like quickly like said, okay, the world's bad. Now we got to do this, but also they kind of didn't need to go into it. You got the vibe that something's really bad and happening.
Obamacare did that.
Well, at one point, I wasn't even sure if they were on Earth or if it was some other planet that they had inhabited. Because it's not like, oh, 100 years from now, or giving any date. It's just like
it's ambiguous.
They show up. Everything looks Earth-like. It's not like it looks like it's far in the future. And then you just know that, okay, like the Earth's desolate. You don't know that it's like the future until they get into NASA. That isn't supposed to be there. Apparently NASA's a secret. And they're like, oh, futuristic, blah, 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 blah. And so I didn't like the way that they set it up.
Anything else on Interstellar, Paul? Or
well, I thought it was beautiful to look at. I loved how they well, I love TARS.
I love TARS. I love Case.
And I was also mad at Matthew McConaughey in the beginning because it was like he just literally like he's like, oh, there's a sign, or we follow these directions. Shows up at NASA, and they're like, hey, we need up into space, and he was just like, I've never done that, and you know, they're like, well, you're the best pilot we ever had. All right, I just didn't understand, and without hesitation, he goes to space. And he goes into, of course his daughter's going to be pissed off at him.
Yeah. But the whole going to space thing, he was kind of forced to go, because it's kind of like if he doesn't go, there's like certain death for everyone on the planet and his daughter. If he does go, his daughter may have a chance in the rest of the human race. So like he kind of had to go, because sitting back doing nothing, they all would have died. You know what I mean? Like.
And he knew it. Yeah, he knew it.
But do you want to grade it, Paul? Because I do grades like by letter. Do you want to would you recommend it to someone?
I would. Oh, absolutely. I didn't hate.
Would you own it? Not even for $5.
Well,
in the Walmart bin.
If it was $5 in the bin, okay. I would do it. I would do it in the bin. So once it gets to Game Exchange and it's
or $8.99 Blu-ray on the rack, then yeah.
If it's $8.99 Blu-ray, I'll do it. I mean, I bought the interview because it was $5. I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but I was just like, oh look, it's $5. I'll buy it.
Brian, so, what are your thoughts on it?
Do you want a rebuttal or?
Oh wait, I gotta rate it still. Out of 10, I'd give it 6.5 out of 10.
That's not terrible. Even though it sounded like you hated it, 6.5 is respectable.
Yeah, because, you know, even though it had its plot holes, even though it had things that just frustrated me and excessive scenes, overall, I mean, it was a good story. It was beautiful visually. And it's got the best robot in movie history, so.
That's debatable. I think the Terminator.
I knew that was going to happen.
He killed a lot of people. I can't dismiss the Terminator. But, TARS is cool, dude. Very cool concept. He was like an alpha Rubik's Cube or something.
Yeah.
You know? Brian, did you want to touch on the movie, or do you want me to touch on it, or you feeling?
You go.
Okay. I'll make it.
So then I want to rebuttal both sides.
I'll try to make it short and not, short and sweet. I like the movie. I think it caught me off guard as far as the tempo of the movie, like action and stuff. It was definitely not just like a epic action sci-fi movie. That for whatever reason, that's what I thought it was, and it wasn't. It was long. I remember sitting there in the theater saying, shit, like this movie's fucking long. But I did enjoy it. But there was a couple of points where I was kind of like my ass is hurting, you know? I thought the movie was, I thought it was good. I thought Matthew McConaughey's performance was like A+. Like when he sat there and he saw his daughter like aged and grown, and the way he cried on camera, it's like there's something about seeing like a grown man cry, and like it teared me up. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it was a very touching moment. And whenever a movie like takes you out of like reality and you're in that moment with the character, I think you're watching a damn good movie. And if it made you get emotional, I think you're watching a good movie that's well directed and a performance. Like Matthew McConaughey's a boss. Like, that dude can act his ass off. And Matt Damon, if I can just touch on him, he was just kind of thrown in there. But I don't think his character was ever meant to be like essential. I just think he was just a part of the plot. And I mean, like, I know it's Matt Damon, but anybody could have played that role. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think that was just like his character in general. It was just like not a pivotal character, but somebody that they kind of threw in there, and it happened to be Matt Damon. Anne Hathaway did okay. Jessica Chastain, she's pretty good. I think she's up and coming. We talked about the robots. Tars and Case were fucking really cool.
Which one was Case? Why am I not remembering
Tars was
Case?
the one, I may be mistaken, but Tars is the one that went into the black hole. And
yes, he's Matthew McConaughey's robot. Tars is Matthew
and
McConaughey's
Case
robot.
May have been the first one he encountered in the bunker. I'm not sure, but I know there was a Case. There was a Case robot, and he was like throughout the movie.
Case was the Marine.
I believe so.
Right?
I may be mistaken, but there definitely was another robot called Case.
Uh-oh. My computer's about to die. I grab my charger.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Edit this part out.
The movie, like, in general, it had like a ton of like messages. And like, for one cool thing, for example, like, Matthew McConaughey's character was like very like science based, and they established that in the beginning of the movie. He was a scientist, and that was his approach to everything.
I think the cool part was, like, he had all his furniture or all his farm stuff working like off of remote control systems. I thought that was pretty cool.
Sweet. But like, his character was like very science based and meat and potatoes and black and white, and he was trying to teach his daughter like to have a scientific approach to everything. Like, in the beginning, remember that scene? They were at the dining table, and then throughout the movie, look what happens to him. Like, things that are unexplained by science. Like, the movie kind of teaches you that like love transcends like space and time, and it was like a cool, like a personal journey for that character too, you know? Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like, I wouldn't call it like a masterpiece, but I will call it a pretty damn good sci-fi, adventure. I would probably recommend it to people. I would use the word good. But yeah, Interstellar was good. Would I buy it? Yeah, I buy it. Would I pay $25 for it? Hell no. Would I pay $10 for it? Yes, I would. And my
what do you think?
My rating for it? I do like letter rating. So for what Interstellar is, a sci-fi epic, adventure, if you want to call it, I give it. Wow, this is tough. It's either going to be a B or a B plus. A B plus is kind of being generous. B is more fair, but I'm going to give it a B plus anyway. So that's my rating, B plus. What do you think, Brian?
I agree with points for both of you guys. I think that honestly, Interstellar, visually, no matter what, storyline or not, has to be one of the best movies like this year that came out. It's just amazing how they did all the space shots and how they went to the different locations. Like, they have that huge glacier scene. They built that farm place and they raised up the crops and stuff like that just to get that farm look that they wanted, just to give you that nice visual look. Christopher Nolan is an amazing director, and he sticks to making sure that he has everything on set that he can and everything practical, and he wants his actors to act in a real life situation. So he tried to keep the movie as realistic as he possibly could, which is the number one thing that a director can do. I agree with you. Matthew McConaughey did an amazing job. I wasn't too much of a fan of Anne Hathaway. I mean, she did good.
She was kind of wooden. She was kind of wooden in the movie.
She was.
I didn't think she was terrible, but...
And... No. Now, as far as like the kind of like the way Inception was. You have to really think about the movie. Like when you watch a movie, you really got to and you can't miss a second of it in order for you to understand, because they're like, okay, the planet's going down and you got 13 people that went into space and 3 people survived, and they send out ratings for certain levels, and then we have a plan A, and the plan A is to move the people over, and then we have a plan B, and the plan B is to start embryos and start a whole new population and stuff like that. And you have a wormhole, and then the wormhole is next to where the black hole is, and if you go to the black hole, you got a certain amount of time lost. Every hour that we're here,
I didn't think it was that difficult to follow at all. I thought Inception was way more out there. That's just me, though.
I disagree.
Oh, you know what? If I got to add, dude, not to cut you off, I'll just say one thing. Can we also all agree, and you guys may disagree, but I'm gonna say we agree. The music was a character in itself.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, that was great,
dude. When he was trying to fucking dock, match the rotation of that spaceship. And trying to match the docking, the junction point while rotating, and the music is going. That shit was intense.
That's one of my favorite parts of the entire movie is that scene right there, because that scene puts you at the end of your seat, not knowing if they're gonna latch and the epic and intensity of that scene was
and the waterfall. I mean, not the wave, the giant wave coming with the music in it. That was pretty intense.
Yeah.
That wave was my favorite part of the whole movie. When I saw that,
I said, oh shit, literally. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. You know the guy that they killed off? I kept thinking, I recognized him. Do you know where that actor's from?
He looked familiar.
The guy with the beard that's on the plane? Yeah. He's the creepy kid from American Beauty. The one with the camera. Oh, yeah,
I know him. I thought you were talking about the black guy that aged. Oh, yeah, I know him.
No, him. I couldn't I couldn't pinpoint where he was from.
He was also in Ghost Rider. He played Blackheart.
Yeah, he had that same look in his eyes,
Yeah.
But just to go back, and I'm going to rebuttal you, Paulie, and you can't say anything until I get done with my spiel, okay? No. I think, not that I agree completely with you, Dave, that Matt Damon, anybody could have played Matt Damon's part. But Matt Damon's part was completely essential to the movie.
You think so?
And I think that with his part, it kind of reveals to you the fact that he was, the plan was always plan B in place. They never thought that plan A, which would be the moving people and moving the human population to the world, was going to actually work. He kind of gave up the whole plot point that they went out there all for suicide missions and to start up new colonies, that the Earth was basically going to be left behind, and that they were going to automatically start a new population. That was the game plan from the start. And he kind of gave you that.
No, dude, I think you're wrong on that. I think because the reason they went out to actually look for new worlds to populate, but that was the main mission.
No, that was plan A, but Matt Damon tells you that plan B was the only one.
Oh, yeah, right.
He never thought
You're right, yes. I thought you were talking about something else. Yeah. He was a coward, though, dude. He didn't accept his fate.
Oh, he was.
He just
completely
lied and had them come back and just save his own ass.
Right. And he drives the drama in the movie to the fact of him, don't open the latch, and he blows up part of the spaceship.
He was a grimy bastard.
So I don't think the movie could have. I don't think you could have done without him, or done without that character in the movie. I think the movie, the plot point and the driving force to kind of the end part of the movie had to be there.
Think so, dude?
So
I thought the two main characters was Murph, Jessica Chastain, and Matthew McConaughey.
No. I'm talking about. Paulie said they could have wrote that part out.
I agree with Paul. I think they could have continued a story without having Matt Damon in it. But
no, I'm not saying Matt Damon. I'm saying his character. So then, how would they find out that Plan B was the only one, and then how would
they would just scrap that?
Yeah, simple rewrite. That's just way too much work to add such.
But I'm not saying it's
detail.
bad. I think
it gives you. I think
sorry.
And it also gives you that fight scene, and it gives you that Matt Damon's going to die. I mean, not Matt Damon. And and it gives you the whole Matthew McConaughey might die thing
Dude, I
and
was
stuff like that, and
But we know he's not going to die. Not that soon into it.
I was happy
I liked it.
seeing
I think that
I was
I like
happy
that
seeing
part.
Matt Damon. Like it was like a cool like surprise. Like he came out of the chamber. Yeah, and I was
It was a little
like,
Easter
oh
egg.
shit,
Yeah,
Matt
like he
Damon.
came out
He's
of
a
the,
good actor. Cool. You know what I mean? Like hell yeah, another good actor in
yeah.
this movie.
He looks old and
He
hurt up
looks
though,
older,
doesn't he?
Yeah,
but
he does.
you really think he looked that beat up? He got a lot bigger. He
I
got
think
big.
yeah,
He carried
he
over
did.
some of that size
Yeah.
from Elysium.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna give my rating. I usually do 1 out of 10. I would say like a 7.5. I wouldn't own it. If it came on TV, I'd watch it. If it came to the $8.99 bin, I'd buy the Blu-ray. But I wouldn't go out and actually pay $20 to $5 for it. I went out and bought Inception, to be honest, after it came out because I really liked it. And I do have to comment, and we can kind of spend the time on this. Is the weird ass ending to the movie of him stuck in like this weird gyroscope thing, and he plays the ghost, and he communicates by Morse code, and he transcends all time with gravity, and I don't know. I just thought that it's just weird. It was just weird to me.
I think that scene is tough to do because it's impossible for any of us to actually visualize what that dimension,
Well, it was
that weird fifth dimension would actually be like, where time is completely
in the movie.
It's basically linear because you can travel along.
In the movie, they explain like whatever beings allowed Matthew McConaughey to like see that fifth dimension or whatever you want to call it. Like, for anyone who says like, oh, it's kind of weird. Why would it be like that point in time, and why would it look like a bunch of endless bookcases and stuff? Well, the inside of a black hole doesn't look like that. That's how whatever alien beings allowed him to portray it as, so his brain can understand and process it.
It was people though. It wasn't aliens. It was just the future.
Was it?
Right? Isn't that
I
what was
thought they
implied?
implied they didn't really like specify if it was aliens or not.
So how was he holding her hand on the spaceship though? He was holding Anne Hathaway's hand.
Yeah.
I mean, because he went into like a black hole, which is like just warped time. So in theory, he can be like at any point in time. You know what I mean? So he just happened to peer through this like window in time and just like
Yeah, but how come he was able to touch her hand, but he couldn't reach out and
Well, he didn't
grab
touch her hand.
his
He
daughter?
just kind of like put his hand through, and it looked all warped. Like they didn't like make contact. I mean, she saw like some kind of weird warp in the air, and just like it wasn't like they were like shaking hands. You know?
That's right.
Like remember her fingers just kind of bent. It was just like a weird moment for her. They didn't really like touch. You know?
Yeah, no like physical contact. Yeah. She just knew
but when you
something
think
was
about
there.
it, it's so weird that like that happened towards the middle of the movie, and then it was him the whole time. You know, like it's like a continuous loop. You know, it was a weird movie. It was definitely weird. I do think they could have done a better job of like writing as far as tying it all together. It's almost like they just wanted to make like a smart kind of like. I don't even know how to describe it. Like one of those like plots or like moments like that make you say, "Oh, that's really smart the way they did that." But it was kind of like it was weird.
Nah, it wasn't too smart.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did that.
You were my
it wasn't
ghost.
pieced together. I do like how they made gravity. Yes.
How he could communicate, like with the Morse code and stuff like that. That was cool.
That was pretty smart the way they wrote that in.
It really bummed me out that when he came back, that they had her, his daughter, like 90 something.
It wasn't a happy ending.
Yeah.
Because no. And that really, like, normally I'm okay with not the perfect fairy tale ending, but in this particular situation, because they dealt so much with time and gravity and such, I was really hoping that they would figure out a way that when he got out of the black hole or whatever happened to him, he was somehow going to end up being transported back, to not necessarily when she was a little girl again, but at least when, he told her he would be back, when I come back, you'll probably be my age.
But it's Nolan though. He probably figured that's the ending that most people would want, something along those lines. And of course, he's gonna do something different.
Yeah, they want him to wake up and realize he's 140 years old, and then go see his 90-something-year-old daughter who dies. She's like, all right, I've seen you. Now I got the rest of my family here.
But, the happy part is they saved the world,
Yeah, they saved the world. His daughter died with her family around her. She created so many generations. Really, they came from him. And, his story was kind of sad because his dad dies. He loses his daughter.
Yeah. Well,
he comes back to a world that he doesn't know, but at least he goes and, spends the rest of his life, I guess, with Anne Hathaway,
Which there's better choices out there. They just decided to jump back into a ship. And then
Catwoman.
Then there's that. No? The janitor just happens to go out, turn on the lights in the garage, and he goes out there and the frickin' a ship's missing. And that's how they end it.
Yeah.
Well, because you knew he was going to go. You knew he was going to go save her.
Yeah. Didn't he have TARS kind of set it up for him, like sneak in the hangar bay and?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know. The ending.
I like that. I had to watch it a few times to appreciate it more. When I came out the theater.
Yeah, I would have to watch it again to understand it.
I remember walking out and I was like, damn, that was a good movie. And I was just thinking, damn, that scene was just crazy. The one with him crying in front of the screen. But.
Yeah.
They left it. They did leave the ending open for a sequel, though.
They should leave. I don't think they should make another one. But quickly, guys.
I agree. But
I'll start with Paul. Do you like Christopher Nolan as a director? What do you? Mm-hmm.
Love Christopher Nolan.
Fan?
I don't. Yeah, absolutely. I'll see anything he does. I'm mad at myself for not going to see this in the theaters.
Bro, you a
his
fan?
Next project, I will.
Complete fan. I think he's one of the up and coming, A-list directors. And he took a little while to get himself there, but now he's on the top of the list. He's up there. I don't think he's right up there with Spielberg and Martin Scorsese or James Cameron, but I think he's one step below them, and I think a couple more movies, he's right up. He's going to be right up in that same.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
Yep.
I don't know if he's a step below, because when you think of the movies he's done, what has been a.
I'd be okay with saying
I don't know about that, dude. Think about it. What movies that has he done that has been... Okay, Inception was really popular. The Batman movies were popular because it was Batman.
Yeah.
Interstellar was pretty epic.
Yeah, he did The Prestige.
But
He did The Prestige.
Prestige was kind of
I don't think he's had his Jurassic Park yet, or he's had his Titanic yet.
Memento wasn't...
No.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't.
Right.
He needs more time. He needs a history of awesome movies. In about 15, 20 years, he'll be at Cameron's level.
Yeah. I think when he gets up, Scorsese and Spielberg are a lot older than him. He's in his 40s, I think. So he's got some time. I think when he gets up to his 50s, 60s, he gets a couple more underneath his belt.
He's talented.
I think he's going to be, definitely, because he's got a mind for it. And the way that he keeps himself practical, he tries to keep as much practical effects as he can in the film. And that's a lot of respect for any filmmaker, is to try to not go CGI. He tries to not go CGI as much as possible. So
I'm a fan of Nolan, and I think what makes a great director is if you think of all the famous directors and the ones that get props, they all have a common denominator. their movies are unique to them. Like, you know you're watching a Nolan movie. For some reason, like his style, the same thing with Tarantino, you know you're watching a Spielberg movie, you know you're watching a Cameron movie. It's just like a certain way they tell their stories. And he's very unique and he's talented. I'm definitely a fan. I'm not a huge mega fan, but whenever I see like Nolan's the director, I automatically think in my head, this is probably good. So that's my take on Mr. Nolan. That kind of wraps up. Huh?
Oh, he was producer for Man of Steel too.
Him and Snyder, right?
He didn't direct Zack Snyder, but he's producer and he's the producer for the new Man of Steel coming out too, the new Batman and
with Snyder?
and Superman one. So
okay, that's a cool collabo.
Yeah,
but that's about time, man. What do you guys think? We covered Interstellar and Nolan.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good.
I think we did, and that was our first run. And if we can get up to where we keep seeing a newer movie all around the same time and all around the same point, I mean, we all waited until it came out on DVD to do this, but that's most of the time. I haven't gotten to movies in a long time, so I got to wait till it gets to DVD. But I try to get it as soon as I can rent it. So yeah, if we can keep up doing this, I liked it. I enjoyed it. We actually got to in-depth dig through a movie, and I think we did a pretty good job of covering all the different parts of Interstellar.
All right. You guys have anything else? I guess that wraps up episode 15, and we'll be back with 16. And what's the topic for that one?
Prequels and sequels that should have but never happened.
All right. So we'll be back on. Later, guys.